Did you know Jamaica and South Africa share a unique bond? It's true. These two nations, oceans apart, have a fascinating connection. Picture this: reggae beats mixing with African rhythms, Bob Marley's music resonating in Soweto, or Shaba Ranks performing at Nelson Mandela's Welcome Home concert. But it goes deeper. Both countries fought against colonialism, inspiring each other's struggle for freedom. And get this, Jamaica was the first country to ban trade with apartheid South Africa in 1957.
Before Black Lives Matter, before global boycotts, there was Jamaica. The year is 1957. Jamaica is still under British rule, still fighting for its own independence. Yet, this small Caribbean island does something audacious, so morally revolutionary that it sends shockwaves through Pretoria, it panics London and changes the course of history. Jamaica becomes the first nation on earth to say no to apartheid South Africa. Not America, not Britain, not the UN. It was Jamaica. This is the story they don't teach you about small nations moving mountains and how the diaspora fought back before it was cool. Guys, I want you to buckle up because this story will rewrite everything you thought you knew about Caribbean power.
Did you know Jamaica and South Africa share a unique bond? It's true. These two nations, oceans apart, have a fascinating connection. Picture this: reggae beats mixing with African rhythms, Bob Marley's music resonating in Soweto, or Shaba Ranks performing at Nelson Mandela's Welcome Home concert. But it goes deeper. Both countries fought against colonialism, inspiring each other's struggle for freedom. And get this, Jamaica was the first country to ban trade with apartheid South Africa in 1957. Today, they collaborate in sports, culture, and trade. From cricket matches to academic exchanges, the ties keep growing. And even beyond South Africa, Jamaica and Jamaican people have held a special place in the hearts and minds of all Africans worldwide, highlighting the unique role this little island has played in fostering African pride and solidarity among all of Africa's scattered children.
When I arrived in South Africa, my first country in Africa south of the Sahara, one of my first Uber drivers said to me that as a black person from the Caribbean, descendant of a formerly enslaved population, I was probably the first person in my lineage to return to the continent since we were taken away. So, welcome home, he said. Welcome home. That I still have dark skin, these eyes the color of night, and hair that grows like a cloud up to the sky is a testament to resilience, to perseverance, and to survival. So I made sure to put my palm to the soil, feeling where my roots lay. This fertile earth still nourishes fruits on branches that have stretched far beyond its coast. Her bark held firm to the hull as it traveled across the Atlantic. They thought that we buried our history, but it was actually being burrowed and reborn as the foods we eat and the music we make. I tasted my childhood in flavors I couldn't even pronounce, my tongue confused and nostalgic for unfamiliar dishes, chewing Callaloo and Festival that answered to a different name. Jitty reggae and Zim dancehall rushing out of loudspeakers to hold me arm in arm. We were torn from this land and renamed, but they recognized me. Smiles greeted me on the bus in languages I couldn't understand, but that flew out of welcoming mouths in the same rhythm as patois. Mrembo, you know you look just like my cousin? We still carry home in our faces. And at every border crossing, the gates reached out to hug me and whispered, welcome home, welcome home.
Do you know there's something that I've picked up, right? When going through people's comments about Africa, about the development of Africa, about Africans coming together as a collective, about BRICS, etc., and how it will benefit Africa. And there is a specific group of people that consistently, if you go through the comments, are there. And this is me giving them a shout out for constantly and always being supportive of Africa. And these are the Jamaicans. Without fail, under anything positive or anything negative about Africa, you will find Jamaicans supporting Africa, standing up for Africa, and just being part of the conversation and always saying that we are one. So this is me saying thank you.
They say history is written by the victors, but sometimes it is written by the brave. And in 1957, when the world was looking the other way, Jamaica, a tiny island still under colonial rule, stood up to one of the most brutal regimes in modern history. Most people think the global fight against apartheid started with international sanctions in the 1980s. That is wrong. It started in Kingston, Jamaica, with a man named Michael Manley, and a principle so simple yet revolutionary it shook 3 continents. We will not trade with racism. But this is just a history lesson, family. This is about understanding how the African diaspora has always been connected, no matter how small nations can change the world, and why Jamaica and South Africa share a bond and be deeper than most people realize. Let me paint you the scene. 1957, Jamaica is preparing for independence but still answers to Britain. South Africa is doubling down on apartheid, making it legal to treat black people as subhuman. And the world, it was silent. Trading partners, business as usual. Then here comes Michael Langley, Jamaica's prime minister, drops a political bomb that reverberates across the globe. He announces Jamaica will impose trade sanctions on South Africa, not because Britain told them to, but Britain was still trading with South Africa. Not because it was economically smart, but Jamaica needed every trading partner it could get. But because it was morally right. Yeah, that's it. South Africa's response was panic. They immediately pressured Britain to discipline Jamaica, fearing this small island moral stance could inspire other colonies. And guess what? They were absolutely right. Jamaica's courage became contagious. Other Caribbean nations followed. The world was watching a David versus Goliath story unfold in real time. The message was clear. You don't need to be big to be powerful. You just need to be right. But here's where it gets personal, guys. And this is why I am so passionate about this story. Jamaica's stance wasn't just political posturing. It was a family calling out injustice. Both Jamaica and South Africa were forged in the fire of colonialism. Both knew the sting of racial oppression. Both understood what it meant to be told you weren't human enough for dignity. When Jamaicans saw apartheid, they saw their own struggle reflected back. My grandmother herself used to tell me stories about how Jamaicans in the 1950s would gather around radios listening to news from South Africa with tears in their eyes. Imagine about that. And these weren't just abstract politics. This was family. When you've been whipped by the same master's hand, you recognize the sound of that whip anywhere. And that connection runs deeper than politics. Look at our food. Kalaloo in Jamaica, Morocco, and South Africa. Same healing leaf crossing oceans. Listening to the same language patois rhythms that echo in South African townships. See our faces, features that mirror each other across the Atlantic. The diaspora was never broken, my family. It was just scattered. But scattered states still grow into the same tree. Then something magical happened. Music became the bridge that politics could not build. When Bob Marley sang War in 1976, quoting Haile Selassie's words about racial equality, those lyrics weren't just reaching concert halls. They were reaching Soweto. They were reaching university campuses where young South Africans were planning resistance. They were reaching the hearts of the people who needed to know they weren't alone in their fight. Reggae became the soundtrack of liberation, not just in Jamaica, not just in Caribbean, but across Africa. When apartheid tried to silence black voices, Jamaican music gave them a new language of resistance. And I get emotional here thinking about this because it shows the power we have when we remember we are connected. When Nelson Mandela walked free in 1990, it wasn't just a South African victory, it was a diaspora victory. The same rhythms that carried our ancestors across the Middle Passage carried messages of freedom back to the motherland. That's not just history, that's healing in motion. Fast forward, guys, today, and this relationship has evolved from moral solidarity to strategic partnership. Jamaica and South Africa don't just share cultural connections, they are shaping global politics together. in 2018, as far as I can remember, something remarkable happened, and South Africa invited Jamaica to BRICS, BRICS summit in Johannesburg. Think about that for a moment. A Caribbean island of 2.9 people sitting at a table with economic superpowers discussing the future of the global south. That invitation wasn't charity, it was recognition. South Africa sees Jamaica as more than a vacation destination or a source of reggae music. They see a nation that stood with them when it mattered, a partner in creating alternatives to Western-dominated global systems. And this is what solidarity looks like when it matures. It starts with moral courage, grows through cultural connection, and develops into strategic alliance. From Michael Manley's trade boycotts to BRICS partnership, that's a 60-year arc of diaspora power in action. So, what's the lesson here we learn, family? What do we take from this story that we can apply to our daily lives? First up, size doesn't determine impact. Jamaica proved that moral courage can move mountains, that small nations can change history when they stand on the right side of justice. Second, culture is currency. Music, food, language, these ain't just entertainment or tradition. They are tools of connections, weapons of resistance, bridges across oceans. Our cultural exports carry our values, and those values can transform societies. Number 3, the diaspora is not broken, it's connected. Every time we support African businesses, celebrate Caribbean culture, or stand up for justice anywhere in the black world, we are continuing Jamaica's legacy from 1957. The African diaspora is not scattered, seeds blown by the wind. We are a network, a web of connection that spans continents and centuries. When one part of the network is under attack, the whole network responds. That's not just history, that's who we are. That's our power, and that's why the story of Jamaica and South Africa matters even today. Your voice, your choices, your solidarity, they all matter, because if a small island in the Caribbean could check apartheid, imagine what we can accomplish when we remember we are all connected. What's your next move? It's going to be. Thank you for listening to me. Thank you for watching this video. Thank you for always supporting me. Thank you for those people who keep on subscribing. To my returning subscribers, you are the reason as to why I wake up every day and make these videos that connect us all as African people, both on the continent and in the diaspora. Thank you for watching. Subscribe, share, comment, like, and remember, let us stay humble, let us stay together, let us stay connected. This is the Bantu Merchant from the motherland Africa, Kenya, the land of Simba. I hope to see you in the next video.